Okay.
Well, and that's the game you're playing also, right? Like the one side of it that has to come off strongly is the fact of your faith. As far as I know you sit in your faith and you're not only not ashamed of it, you're just not going to let anybody, push back on it. And the way I mean that is like somebody saying like, no, but this is like totally fine. You're not going to say like, yeah, okay, fine. No, you're typically going to stay rooted in the
Yeah.
Bible and in the Word.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people that doesn't work. It's just not. They're not about it, and it's hard to see it in the dating world because really, if you stuck to the general rules of Christian dating, it goes a lot easier.
Seriously. Well, that's the other thing too is like I want to keep repeating this because I don't think people quite understand. I do not expect perfection, and I was actually just having a conversation with one of my friends about this today, and like Christian is not synonymous with perfection. If anything, it's completely like opposite. Like I don't have holes in my hands. I am not Jesus. I am not going to try to hold myself to this standard of being a perfect human. I'm certainly not going to do that to anybody else. What I do want is just for you to, for me, the biggest things that I've noticed with having a faith is that you are rooted in the word, however that looks for you. But it's also like you've probably gone through some sort of healing process with whatever other crazy stuff that life has thrown at you, because it's thrown stuff at all of us. But I can't walk into like if I'm talking like long term relationship, I'm not going to be able to walk into anything where I am having to be the one to hold your hand through that whole process and be the one to do all this work for you. Like I can't, I've done my own stuff. Like I can't, I will support you happily, but I can't be the one to like lead you through that. That's not my job.
Right.
So,
You recognize that church is a hospital, not a hall of fame, but
correct.
you're also not a doctor.
Correct.
Um,
Well, that's the thing. Like I can't expect myself like if I can't like I didn't heal myself. Like that was Jesus working through other people through me and like all that stuff. So it's like when people don't understand what a personal relationship with him looks like to everybody else, it looks very like what is going on here, which I get because the world has skewed it that way, but it makes dating a lot harder. So,
well, right, and it makes dating a lot harder, and it makes profession of faith in dating a lot harder. It turns it into a little bit of a game where you start to feel like you have to kind of slip it in there a little bit, just like
yeah,
I
I kind
just
of like I'll put a feeler out like, "Oh, this is interesting. Like what does this mean for you?" And then I'm
yeah,
like, "Oh, okay, like noted." And
yeah,
it's so funny because I've had so many conversations where people are either like, "Oh yeah, like I've really been exploring my relationship with God and like it's a really cool faith conversation and I love it." And then I've had people be like, "Yeah, I'm not really like, super into it." And then I'm like, "What does that mean?" And like I don't know what exactly it is that you're trying to say with that. So I think people get like nervous about it. And I'm like, look, wherever you're at is wherever you're at. Like I'm not sitting here judging you or condemning you about it, but like I certainly can't like do it for you.
no, that can't you can't do the work for somebody else, and it's not as though people who need to heal in dating is hard because the right person you can heal alongside them,
Yeah, 100%.
but finding that right person again, with the dating apps and with everything
Mhm.
else, there's this expectation that the right person is literally within a 2 mile radius of you
Yes.
at all times. Somehow, our dating circles have gotten tighter than they were in like the 1700s, like when you literally would might die if you left your town.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the other thing with dating apps that like just kind of going back to this part of this conversation is more just like I don't like the idea of dating somebody out of boredom or because for whatever
Interesting.
reason I feel lonely because like we all feel that way at some point. We all want companionship. We're wired for it. But I found this happening where like with the holidays, like the holidays were weird for me this year and I was like, "Huh, I'm like feeling the singleness." And then with Valentine's Day coming up, I'm like, "Okay, I'm kind of feeling it again, but I'm not going to go out of my way to try to find a temporary solution for that because I know it would be a temporary solution. And I don't want that."
And it's interesting you mentioned that only because, you're just on the dating apps to see what out of pocket things people say. But also,
True,
we
that's fair.
we all know people, not I'm not gonna pick on Ashley here. We all know people who literally are on dating apps just because 'cause they're like, "This let's just see. This is just boredom for me. Like, let's just play the game. Let's
Yeah,
just,
a lot
like,
of people, yeah.
play Cards Against Bumble. Let's see what happens." And
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I know people who are in relationships who go on dating apps just to freaking like, they both are on it. Like, the both are together on it,
That's
not
crazy.
looking for a third, literally
I've
just
seen
like
that though. I've seen a few people being like, "So we're looking for," and I'm like, "You have other issues, and I think you might need some work."
yeah, you need Jesus,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna be the
Yeah,
one to
no.
figure that
Not
out.
my job for that one. Nope.
Correct, and it's just I think this whole conversation highlights the messiness of modern dating, even without playing in the factor of faith,
Mhm.
which, you know, I think Jesus would come down, look at the dating apps, and just go, man, the sad part is dating inside the church is also difficult
Oh,
because
100%. Oh gosh.
most people who are faithful from childhood, they
Mhm.
get married young,
Yep.
and if you're not in that crowd, there typically aren't a lot of eligible bachelors or
Mhm.
bachelorettes.
Mhm.
Um, and when there are, some elder in the church is going to be like, gonna like also try to force things, and then
Yeah.
that makes it awkward.
Yes.
Um, you know, I I think solutions exist that aren't dating apps. I think solutions exist that can be filled with faith.
Yeah.
I I
Def
don't know where those solutions will be. I'm sure you'll find one at some point
I think
because
truthfully, it's like it just things happen naturally, and I like anything that has ever occurred in my life, more often than not, has occurred naturally from something that I'm involved with that isn't an app. The only things that have happened to me from apps are like the ones where I'm specifically like I genuinely would have never met you otherwise. I have been disappointed from like people that I actually thought I enjoyed getting to know them, and I was like, yeah, this is like good. I could potentially see this maybe becoming something. um I'm not going to put pressure on it to do that at this moment because I'm still getting to know you. But the thing that I hate the most about social media and dating apps, and how like people use social media as this too, and that's a whole other thing. But the ghosting, and I know I briefly talked about this before. Have I done it once or twice? Yes, I will fully admit that. However, um, I can't stand people who just can't deal with a difficult conversation, or they're like the conversation about that has been had. Like there has been a conversation about communication, and then the actual actions that follow do not match. And that is incredibly irritating to me.
so Ashley,
Nick,
thank you for coming on the podcast today.
thank you for having me.
You have covered a lot of ground and a nice, frank, honest conversation about uh, Christianity that opens doors to further conversations we can have later on down the line. Today was kind of a bit of a hodgepodge of dating focus, which
A
I
series.
think it also I think highlights the messiness of the subject we're talking about. But thank you for sharing your openness of faith with us. We always love and appreciate that here at 10 Minutes with Nick. Eligible bachelors who listen to 10 Minutes with Nick, if there are any of you, don't go leaving your girlfriends or your wives. Like, calm down. She's great. She's not that great.
Right.
If you are a man of sterling personality, perhaps a man of some faith in
Please.
Christianity, um, I'm sorry to my Muslim and Jewish listeners. We love you. We appreciate you.
This one's
Ashley's not
gonna
your
be a
girl.
match for me.
Ashley's not your girl. But any eligible bachelors out there, get word to us. This will be on Instagram. So likely this section will be on Instagram. You see her face.
Wow.
Let us know if you're interested in her. We'll pass the message along. And I got to be honest, fellas, if it's out of pocket, like crazy out of pocket, what I'm
He's
going to
gonna
do
know
is I'm
about
going to
it.
read it. I'm going to
Nick's
read
gonna
it.
know. Nick will
I'm going
know
to
all
know.
the details.
I'm a not only that, I will put you on blast on the podcast. So
You could.
be a little more, be careful. Ashley's an actress. Look for her in upcoming projects. Look for her in a great short upcoming soon.
Excited.
And look for that to make a festival run. She's talented, wonderful. Look for her writings to be out soon. And look, guys, look what you're looking at. Hit us up at 10 minutes with Nick on Instagram. Let us know what you think. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Nick. This has been 10 minutes with Ashley.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.